Ah, the holidays. A time for giving, a time for getting, and a time for going and going.
And going, and going, and going, and going.
When you need a break, we're here, helping you make sense of all the good and the going of the holidays. Happy holidays from all of us at ubnradio.com.
You and I go hard at each other like we're going to war. You and I go rough, we keep throwing things and
Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up. More applause. Thank you, Kurt. I love Kurt. He's our board op and guy who sort of does everything. Thank you.
No problem.
You know how much I love the applause. Thanks and welcome to What's Up. You're with Deborah Kobylt right now, and we have sort of a really great show for you. How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great. I went to my wife's parents' house for lunch and then my parents' house for dinner. So I got extra turkey.
You got extra turkey. You split it up. You did it right. Nobody was upset, so you did the good thing.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really cool. Our Thanksgiving was not expected. I almost don't want to say this, but here's how it started. So everybody knows that over the past couple of years, it's just been a lot. First, my mom goes, and my dad goes. No, first my mom goes, and John's dad passed away. And then this past summer, my dad passed away, and we get a call on Thanksgiving morning that John's mother died. And I thought, oh, my God, this is just too much. So that's how we started our Thanksgiving, and it just seemed like it's just one after the other after the other. And I was in such shock because I thought, for so many reasons, that's it. You know, she's the last to go. I was a little shocked about it. I mean, not that she was well and 25, but still, you don't expect that sort of a thing to happen, especially on a holiday morning.
Of course.
So it was just a bit of a shock to us, and we're getting ready to go to the funeral this weekend. So I wanted to show a couple of pictures of her, of Helen. That was Helen and Chester. Chester passed away, I guess, when my mom did a couple years ago. They only passed away 2 months apart. And that's Helen with Chester. I love that picture with them on the beach. They look adorable. And that's her, I guess, about a year or two ago. And we last saw her in August. And she was lovely, but I could tell that she was sad because she missed her husband. And having gone through this now 4 times in a very short amount of time, I realized that, you know, someone was just calling for her. And it must have been her husband. And this is what's interesting. We were walking into church. We got the call in the morning that she was found unresponsive. And then we were walking into church that morning to go light a candle for her. And as we were walking into church, we got a phone call that she passed away. So I thought, you know, that's a good thing because somebody really good was looking out for her. So a little tribute to Helen, my mother-in-law. And that's what I wanted to say. And I will tell you, on a moment like that, it's your family. Hopefully you have good family and a partner. And clearly your girlfriends that get you through a time like that, and all the great people we work with.
Of course.
So, but on the air, I thought this was actually very telling. On the air today, we have Deborah. I cannot pronounce your name. Oh, my God. Deborah Halpert. Please pronounce it for me, would you?
It's really close. Deborah Halpert.
Oh, I got it kind of close. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I
this is great.
know.
Oh, okay, great. You're a blogger, and I love your blog, love, and it's called Girlfriendology.com.
Yes.
I love it. It's just a great one. And I just also want to introduce who's in studio with us. We're going to be talking to her a little later. Bronwyn? Oh my gosh. Well, you have to make a little blooper tape of me doing this, going back and forth, not being able to get anybody's name right. Bronwyn Ralph, and she's here talking about the love of hiking and girlfriends hiking and all kinds of stuff. She wrote a book, so we'll talk to her a little later on. But in the meantime, we've got Deborah. I want to hear a little bit about your blog, Friendology, and why did you decide to write this?
Well, I will tell you that, but I am very sorry about your Thanksgiving and your family. So
thank you.
You're right. You need your girlfriends. You need your girlfriends around. So about almost exactly 10 years ago, 2 of my very good girlfriends found out they had cancer. And it was just the reality check of life is too short. Mm-hmm. And, you know, all of us have girlfriends that are going through really tough stuff. And it made me think about friendship and how I need to be a better friend and how I need to be a better friend to them, but also to other friends of mine because it's just that important.
Well, it is. And
So-
also, if you're in college and then you're working and then you're trying to get ahead in your work and then maybe you have a family, and it's really tough sometimes to continue those friendships. And you do have to take pause. And it's usually something like that happens, that
Yeah.
when you just take pause and you say, you know what, I got to take a break and reclaim my friends or let them know how much I love them. So I think that's great. So how long ago was this that you decided to sort of focus on it?
Yeah, so that just made me think about, encouraging other women to be better friends. And I did a little bit of research, and there's actually studies that show that female friendship, and we women know this, we just don't read about it often, we don't hear about it, that's why I have the blog, but female friendship makes women healthier, happier, less stressed, live longer, and even feel more beautiful. And,
It's
I
true.
thought if Oprah sold a pill that did that, everyone would buy it.
But it's
So
true. And
I
I
just-
think a lot of women think, oh my
Right.
God, I need a guy. If they're breaking up, if their
Uh-huh.
relationships aren't working, they think, oh no, I have to go out and find a guy. But it's, no offense, Kurt, but it's true.
Don't take it.
He's so adorable. I love him. It's so true, though. What you do is really, when times are really tough, you need to reach out to your
Right.
girlfriends, right? I mean, I
Right.
know this happened to me more than ever when my mom passed away, because I thought, oh my gosh, I just
Yeah.
lost my best friend. And I did. I reached out way more for my girlfriends, and they were there for me. And I'm hoping that I'm a good enough friend that I'm there for them. So tell me a little bit about, what do you like to focus on with your blog, and what are people writing to you about?
Well, I like to focus on the positive side of friendship, because there are some people that want to complain about their girlfriends or that they have bad friends or how terrible it is.
my
And
God.
I really think there are so many benefits and so much positive inspiration that we should be offering that I stay on that side of it. I don't get into the bitchy side of
Yeah, but you know
unfortunately,
what?
there can be sometimes.
But you know what? On
But
the same
I really
note,
want to inspire women.
no, I agree. And on the same note, though, sometimes people really are having a bitchy day, and they're just going through a really hard time. And instead of pushing them aside, it's a good thing to say, "Hey, let's go for a walk," or to
Exactly.
address you, who's in studio here, let's go for a hike. Which is true, because
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to grab a friend who's going through a horrible time, and just get them out of their that negative spiral. Don't you think?
Totally. And I think that girlfriend time is like therapy. It's just you release all these things that are going on in your life, and you have somebody that loves you and cares about you, whether you're having a bad day or a good day. And that comfort level with girlfriends is just so important that, it is. It's like free therapy, or maybe the cost of a glass of wine or a bottle of wine or whatever that you share. But it's so inspiring.
And if I could just add something, they also have your back. They can keep you on track and
Yes.
help
they know
guide
you.
you through that.
They know you,
experience.
and they know maybe where you're going to go, good or bad. And a lot of times
Yeah.
they'll just pull you back. That's what I try to do for my friends. I'm always somebody will come and call midnight, whatever. They're like, Deborah. I'm like, all right, what's the matter? I mean, I'll actually drive out and go see a friend if I really think that they're in peril. Yeah, you just kind of have to do that. I mean, and I also saw, is there a study that good girlfriends, it shows that you'll live even longer if you have a good group of
Yes.
friends.
Yes. Actually, having a good support system of friends reduces stress, and stress is the number one reason why people go to the doctor. It impacts your health. It impacts your longevity. And just think about how stress relieving. When I go to my book club, which is this week, within 2 minutes, I have a glass of wine in my hand, I'm laughing with my friends, and I forget what all was stressing me out on the way there or at work.
Okay, book clubs
it's
stress me out because half the time I can't get through the book. No, I'm telling you. So I'm flipping through it, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to talk my way out of this one? And then, I'll call a friend and say, all right, did you get to the end of this book? And I'll find out, no, they didn't get to it either. So it's kind of funny that you said book club. More power to you if you get through the books.
Right. Our book club is a no-stress book club. Only about half to a quarter of the people read the book.
Oh, that's good.
It's more about wine time and catch-up time and talking about what restaurants are opening in the neighborhood. And,
Well, I'm coming to your book club.
yeah, it's so much fun. It's so great. I started it actually about 15 years ago, and we're still going every month. So it's a great way of finding time with your girlfriends, which is the number one thing we hear about on Girlfriendology is women who are like, I don't have time for my friends. So that's the challenge that we have to overcome, is like really prioritizing our friendships and prioritizing that time together, whether it's, I love the idea of hiking together and exercising together.
That is the best.
Such a healthy way. Yeah.
I mean, I'm great for that. I will call people. I'll text them at night and say, "Hey, you want to go for a walk in the morning?" I think it's a great way to, you're releasing stress, you're keeping in touch with your friends, you're exercising and hopefully taking a little weight off. So to me, exercising is one of the best ways. You know, sitting down, last night I was out with a group of girls. We had a great time. But I find sometimes when I'm sitting there at a dinner for hours and just drinking wine, it's like, oh my God. You know, for me, I prefer just getting out and talking, because it's almost too hard to talk when you're sitting around a table like that. But what are women writing to you about? What are some of the main, problems that they might be having with some of their friends? Some people think that maybe they don't have good friends. I know people will look on Facebook and social media and think, God, I don't have friends like that. My people don't look like that. That's really hard.
Yeah. That is really hard, and you made a really good point, because social media has really impacted how we kind of value and how we recognize our friends, because we have these social media friends. Are they real friends? Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're just connections that we have. So it kind of gets a little muddy, because so you have 600 friends or something like that. Really, you have a core group of friends that you need to build into. So social media kind of, can add a little pressure, but you always show up with your friends, or you're always like selfies with your friends. But really, it's more about that offline time where you get to hang out. And I have spin friends. I do spin like several mornings a week. And if Kelly and Lisa call me, I'm on the bike with them, and we're working out, and we just don't even think about how hard we're working, because we're with each other. So it's finding those times that you can be together and like do life together and really enjoy that time together, because time is really hard to do when we're all busy.
I also think sometimes people go through so much, and they go through their friends. Maybe, times have changed. Like I said, maybe let's say you had children, and maybe your friends that you were friends with at work didn't. And then sometimes there's a lot of alienation, where you feel like you don't have friends. I'm sure you've had people write to you who say, I don't really have any friends, or I don't have any good friends, and I feel lonely. What do you say to them?
I will say that's probably the other topic that comes up, is women who don't feel like they have friends, or that they're lonely, and they put all their energy into their family or their job or both, and it's hard to maintain those friendships. One thing, the major thing I tell them is, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. Because if you aren't giving time to your friends, and then all of a sudden, I had somebody that wrote, and she was like, I was sick as a dog. I had to change apartments that weekend, and I have 2 little kids, and I'm a single mom. She's like, if I didn't have a friend that helped me move, I don't know what I would have done. You can't wait till that event happens and then go knock on your neighbor's door and say, hey, want to be my friend? Will you help me move? You need to build into people. You need to give them time and really try to grow friendships. But that takes an effort. You can't just expect people just to find you and be your friend. You have to be their friend. You have to really make an effort.
What about when friends are going through a hard time and, I don't know, they sort of had a difference of opinion in something? What do you say to them? Because I say that can happen, but I say reach out to the person and just say, we've had a friendship. That's a tough one. What do you say about something like that?
That's a really tough one. And I will say that I've had...
It's happened to everybody,
we've all had those relationships. I had one once where I said... I wrote a blog post about how we vote differently, but we're really good friends, and she saw it as me saying that she voted wrong. Or, it was just, it was really challenging. Sometimes I think you need a little bit of distance, but overall I think you need to give each other the gift of forgiveness and have each other's back. And sometimes that's really hard to do, but it's so important. Those friendships are so important. It's worth swallowing a little pride sometimes and really trying to talk things out and apologize and maybe just agree to disagree, but come back to the reality that what's important is that you have a really valuable friendship that you want to maintain and keep.
I also find that a lot of women, if they're struggling, I have friends who are divorced, single, whatever, they feel like to empower themselves, it's a man that they must have. Now, I'm not knocking men. I'm happily married. It's all good. I
Right.
have male friends. But a lot of times to feel better about yourself, I always say, let's go out or go out with your friends, because I think it's your girlfriends who make you feel just silly and ridiculous, right? I mean, that's what I always say. It's not a guy to turn to. It's other women.
Right, and I don't think guys really want you to turn to them in all kinds of situations.
That's a good point.
The girlfriends are good at listening when you need to have someone listen, where guys sometimes aren't as much.
That is so true.
They want to fix it.
Okay, I have a guy friend, and I always call him, and he goes, now what? I'm like, what do you mean, now what? And, okay, Kurt, why are you laughing? Because you could probably see me doing that, right? He goes, Deborah, call one of your girlfriends. I'm like, well, I can't. They're, making dinner. So he'll just stay on the line. He probably puts me off to the side on the table, frankly, is probably what he does. But you're right. You're so right. Guys are not those kind of friends, right?
Yeah, and there's just a common bond that we have with women that we communicate the same ways. Women use twice the number of words that men do on a typical day. We like to talk and we like to work out our emotions and our thoughts, and we sometimes need somebody that understands how to communicate with us, and it's just so valuable that we have that. It's not taking anything away from having relationships with guys. It's just there's
They're
something
different.
special about that bond.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here's one for you. I have 3 boys and a husband. There are no women. I even have a boy dog. I mean, there's just no female energy in my house. And I talk, and they'll say, Mom, you already said that. And I'm like, I know, but I wasn't sure you were listening. So I'm thinking, I need so whenever, girlfriends are in town or people come, I'm like, oh, no. Stay with me. Come on over. I'll take you shopping, because it's true. The guys just are not the same. Sorry, Kurt.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's really good that you recognize that you need that, female energy and interaction. And so, like you said, last night you saw some girlfriends and things like that, but taking time for your friends is really happy. I've told guys that, kind of saw girlfriendology as me discouraging, or being anti-guy or something. That's not it at all. The line about if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, or whatever it is.
What is it? Happy
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, something like
Yes.
that. Yeah, but that's
That's what you
got a
would do.
long list. What for the happy wife? What would that be? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen to me,
But
eat my
spending
dinner,
time with your
whatever.
girlfriend-
What's that?
Yeah, but spending time with your girlfriends is going to give you that release of, the stress, the communication, the energy, just that will make you a better person for when you come back to your family, and that re-energizes you, and it gives you perspective on things and insights that they perhaps can't. So it's just a really valuable relationship that we can hopefully inspire each other to be better friends and take care of our female friends.
When you're of a certain age, how do you find friends? How do people do that? Let's say they're not working and they're in their mom mode or something, or they've raised kids and they're suddenly thinking, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Because I know some people in that position and they feel kind of lost out there. I always have advice for them, but I'm not sure they take it. Have people reached out to you about that kind of a thing? Tell them to go for a
Yes,
hike?
they have. And that's another request that we get as far as, how to find friends as adults. It's a little different than when you're younger and you're in school and you have these,
just
forced
stuff.
ways of being together and things like that. As an adult, a couple things that I recommend is joining groups or getting active, even volunteering or doing some group at your church or school or neighborhood. Find ways that you have common things with other people,
And it's got to be
start to do it
it's got to be something you like too. To just run out there and do something. Not a good idea.
Right.
I always say make sure you enjoy it, because I have a friend, same thing. She just went and she tried to volunteer at a hospital. Well, she hates sick people. I mean, not that she hates them. They make her upset. So I said, then why did you go do that? She said, well, I'm trying to get involved with groups. I said, you got to do something you love, or at least like go for a hike.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
There's meetup groups in, I think, every city that will, like, you can go online, and it's not like dating, hookup things. It's like, here's a group of people that like to walk. I actually went hiking through the town with a bunch of strangers because it was like, we're going to go do a 5-mile walk on this Sunday afternoon. We're starting at this place, and just go and meet people and start walking. You can find that. Or we have different groups. We have a blogger group here in Cincinnati. We have a social media group.
I think social media is great for that. Even if you have an app, what is the one that I looked up? I think it was called Meet Up. And I put it on my phone, and it almost looks like Meet Up. But I did it because I was looking for people to hike. So that's why. And now I get all this information about people hiking in the area. And I thought, this is great. What an easy way to meet people. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And also community centers, or if they're of a certain age, senior centers have a lot of activities around. So there's always something that you can, especially in LA.
Just have to like it. That's what I have to say. Otherwise, you're just going to go there and sit there and be miserable and all that other stuff.
And try it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
So give me like a couple tips for people out there listening, how to be a good friend to somebody, how to reach out.
Okay. A couple things. One is, again, the time thing. Make your friends a priority. And I know that's really hard to do, but put time on the calendar with them. So you say, every month I'm going to get together with this book club or this group of girlfriends, or 1 year my college best friend and I set a plan for, like, every month we went and did something together, something new and different we hadn't done before. So start some traditions. It could be the book club. It could be a dinner party. I have another friend. She and her friends love to cook. They have a gourmet girlfriends group.
That's
so
fun.
They all cook different things every month. So find different ways that you can set traditions so that you keep staying in touch with people. That's really important, is just to keep those friendships going and finding time for each other. Around the holidays now, giving like a thoughtful gift or showing that you really appreciate people is a great way. Whether it's just a nice card that says, I thank you for the gift of your friendship. And my thing on gifts for girlfriends is, don't give something that you would give your mom, coworker, or your neighbor. Give something that's a little bit more personalized, that shows that you know her preferences.
That's really sweet.
You know what she likes.
That's really nice. I know this month I'm trying to get together a thank you dinner for all my friends, because my friends have been so good to me, and they're from all different walks of life. And I want to try and gather them all together. Now, doing that in December is a challenge, so I might have to push it over to, January. But I thought that was a nice thing. Just not a birthday, not anything. Just, hey, thanks for being there, lunch or dinner or whatever.
Yeah,
it's a way to do it too. Or even somebody you want to get to know, ask them to lunch or to coffee, because this stuff does matter. Yeah. It really, really does. Yeah. Any parting words you want to tell us? I mean, how many people do you get onto your site? Do you have any idea? And do you get a lot of interaction with people? Have you ever had people calling?
Get a lot of interaction with women through social media, because actually I've had the blog for almost 10 years and have been doing social media since the very beginning, since that was like 10 years ago as well. So that's really helped to kind of build the conversation. And women are all on Facebook, and there's some on Twitter and Instagram and things like that. So social media has really helped us connect. So if there's anybody out there that just wants some inspiration, to check out Girlfriendology on any of those platforms. But just really, our goal is to inspire women to be a better friend, because if we inspire you to be a better friend and you're a better friend, then you can inspire your friends to be better to their friends. And we really can make the world a better place, one friendship at a time.
We can. And
also really caring about each other.
We didn't touch on this, jealousy, because that's a big deal. It's funny. I know myself, I can look at something somebody has that I really want, but I don't understand why somebody would be jealous of something that somebody has that they really want. Like, to me, I don't get it. But jealousy really can bring out the worst in somebody. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and I don't understand it. Friends. No, and I don't get it because it doesn't. You're not going to get that from the person. So what's the point? And that's something to recognize too, because sometimes you can have friends that bring you down because maybe they're jealous of who you are. Don't you think?
Right. Well, you want to be a good friend to good friends. Find the people that really resonate with you, that understand you, that support you, that have your back, that that aren't jealous, that cheer on your successes. Those are your true friends, and build into those people because those people are gold. A friend of mine is a writer. She wrote an article about what she would write to her 16-year-old self if she could go back and
Oh,
tell
I
her.
like that. I like that.
Yeah. And one of the lines was, make more girlfriends. You're going to need them.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Just really, we're going to need them as, the population, as we all age. Girlfriends outlast most relationships. Girlfriends are there for you if they're really solid girlfriends, and you have to spend that time and build into the right friends and make sure that they know that you value their friendship.
And finally, also for people out there with daughters, granddaughters, whatever, it's really important to teach them how to be a good friend.
That is so true.
My friend
You
was
need to
telling me that.
model.
Yeah, you have to model it. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for being on. I love your blog, and everybody please go on and read it, girlfriendology.com with Deborah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being
on. It was
on.
awesome to meet you, and now I'm inspired to go hiking with my friends and check out all of your other shows. I've been listening to those today. So
Oh,
thank you very much for
wonderful. Thank you so
including me.
much
It's
for
been
being here. Thanks a lot. And we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, too. Thanks.
She was great. I was going to go to a break, but we don't need to. I mean, she was really inspiring. I mean, I just know the night I had last night really inspired me a lot. And these were some women that I don't even know. And I was sort of a certain headspace because I've just been thinking about, the funeral that's coming up. So I wasn't exactly, my usual woo self, but they sort of tried to pull me out because I think the people who know that I'm usually like kind of the life of the party, I wasn't my usual self. You know me, Kurt. I mean, I'm usually, dancing on the table when I come in here. So
I got to get you off there.
I know.
Before the show starts.
He's
But
very,
they
very good.
energize you and they comfort
They did.
you.
They made me feel great. So I love this book. I love it. Do we have a shot of it that we can show up there? There we go. Love this. Off the Beaten Path. A guide to exploring the cultural landmarks. Oh gosh, without my glasses. Historical monuments and the other points of interest of the San Fernando Valley. Now, this show, of course, is nationwide and beyond.
Right.
So, but I find this inspiring because you found something you love and you enjoy hiking and other areas of interest in the San Fernando Valley, which is part of Los Angeles. And you put that love and passion into something in a book. And I love it. It's fantastic. So tell me why you did it.
Okay. Well, I was born in Hollywood and raised in the San Fernando Valley. So I have a great appreciation for all of the historic landmarks and cultural monuments. The San Fernando Valley actually has over 70 historic landmarks that people can get out and explore. And you talk about your show is national. Every area has wonderful historic landmarks, and sometimes you don't know what's in your backyard.
Sometimes you don't even look what's in your backyard. I mean, what I love this was Off the Beaten Path about the hiking, because there's so much hiking in our area and probably in everywhere, really.
Right.
So I love that. So you really also focused on a lot of the hiking areas.
Well, I focused on a couple, especially the one site, the Nike missile site. I don't know if you want. Oh, you've
Do we have a shot of that?
We can put this up if you want. I didn't.
That's okay. We just talk about it. So, okay,
Okay.
the Nike missile site.
The Nike missile site was actually created by the U.S. Army during the Cold War. It's up in the Santa Monica Mountains. The trails hook up to the Backbone Trail, and you can spend hours there. My family and I would train there when we hiked Mount Whitney. We used it as one of our base trails. There's a Lopard Pad, there's Sentry Post. The Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy actually has it now, and it's being run really by their agency. But it's a great place to go hiking. You can go down to the Palisades. It's just
Yeah, I don't
there's a
want to
lot-
get too local, but is that like if you take Westridge, you get to the very top of Westridge and find that one?
You would go up on
Kenter?
No, Encino Hills Drive.
Encino Hills. Okay, so
And
that's
Mohawk.
for people who aren't from California
Yeah.
or aren't from the valley. Yeah, that's the valley side of Los
Right,
Angeles. But it's very interesting.
It borders between Santa Monica and the San Fernando Valley. And when you get to the top, you can see a beautiful, view of the San Fernando Valley.
But what's inspiring about this is you took something that's in your local area, and you're right. No matter where you're from, it could be a small, little, sleepy, boring town, and if you keep looking and digging, it's probably not as small and boring and sleepy as people think it is.
Right.
You could probably anyone can do something like this if you
Right.
look and you're curious enough to find something beautiful where you are.
It
Don't you
is.
think?
It is. And, what really kind of inspired me was my grandparents. Every Sunday, that would be their time to take my brother and sister and I to
Oh, nice.
these historic places. So I grew up with an appreciation. Loved Huell Hauser, met him a couple of times.
Oh, that's great. Oh, so that really
such
inspired you.
Yeah. And then when I had a friend who didn't know we had a mission in the San Fernando Valley, I thought, well, this is just my core. I know this. So I started to develop a resource list and just developed into the 5th edition. The 5th edition just came out this past year, and it's a travel book, so I have to update it every couple of years.
Now, are you going? Did this inspire you to go do a book about somewhere else? Perhaps there's a place you've always wanted to go. See, I've always loved to. I would love to do that. To go to a place and just immerse myself there and write something about it, and then.
I think I'll leave that up to people in their areas.
Yeah.
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. I know it. I love it. I'm passionate about preserving the historic landmarks. And I think that I'm good with just the San Fernando Valley.
So you're a big hiker. You said you hiked Mount Whitney?
A few times.
Okay, so tell me about that. You had to
Let's-
train, you said?
Yeah, my family and I first did it when I was 11. Then my father and I did it. I've summited about 6 times.
And what's the elevation?
14,495 feet.
And what was it like for you up there? Because I remember when I was in Cusco, I could barely breathe, and I don't recall the elevation. It's about the same. How were you when you were up there?
If you train, you're good. Obviously, when you get up to higher elevations, the training pays off. So,
Yeah.
it's still, you don't need oxygen tanks or anything. And we started hiking in 1978, you could actually drink from the water, the streams, and now over the many years with Giardia and stuff, you're not able to. So, but people run it nowadays. They run the whole. It's only 11 miles up, but it's
the elevation that I think will get you more. So, Kurt, you were going to say something?
Well, no, my sister lives in San Fernando Valley, so I mean it's a beautiful town and beautiful place to go to. What's a place that you have to visit when you go to San Fernando Valley?
Oh my goodness,
Your sister.
Yeah,
your sister.
Yeah, my sister's house.
Well, I added 7 new sites for this edition. One of the really neat places, which I think you do have a picture of it, is the Onion is one of them. That's
What's the Onion?
The Onion is actually a church. It was built by the Sepulveda Unitarian Universal Society.
Cool looking thing.
Yeah, and it was a historic landmark in 2009. It was created in 1965. The architect was Frank Urethel, who was a student of Richard Neutra. And what's so interesting about it is their religion says that everyone's equal. So they made this circular building, and inside they've got these beautiful wood beams, and you can whisper on one end and then be heard all across.
Well, you better say something nice. How many times you walk into church and you think you're safe in there, right? You
But
just whisper to somebody and oops.
It's shaped like an onion, so it's really an architectural design. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Do people still use it though?
Oh, yes. It's still run by the church, and there's a gentleman who can give tours of it in the
go
morning.
there.
Yeah.
Kurt, we should go there.
It's across the street from the
After
VA.
this.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So, do they have like church service here on Sundays?
on
or
Sundays.
To go to the Onion to go to church? That's pretty cool. That'd be really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and it was why it was.
I never knew.
It had a couple of protests during the 1960s and then the 1980s.
Why?
So, civil rights protests in
Got
the
that.
1970s.
Okay.
And then, so it's a very important part of our culture. The other place, what you have, if we could go back, the Great Wall. This is another place that I added. This is more of a point of interest than anything else. It was actually created to decorate the Tujunga Flood Channel. It's right by Valley College.
And we have a lot of flood channels here in California and Los
Right.
Angeles in particular, because it doesn't rain often, and when it does, it's such an overwhelming amount of rain very often that we get. And I don't know what's going to happen this winter. They're calling for the El Nino.
Nino, right.
That the flood channels, you need them, otherwise the whole area would sort of flood out. So
Right.
that's
But-
interesting. So somebody painted on that. What do they, yeah.
It actually was painted by Judith Baca and about 400 volunteers, and there's sections of it. Originally it was called The History of California, but in 1980 it was renamed The Great Wall of California. And each section, it starts with the prehistoric, and then it moves to the mission area, then, the Great Depression, and each decade what was going on in California. And it ends with the 1984 Olympics. It's a mile long. It's the longest mural in America.
Is it really? See, there's another fact. Did you know this, Kurt?
No, I passed by it though, and it's amazing
Yeah.
to see how much history there is.
I don't think I've passed by it. Where is
Cold
it?
Water, on Coldwater Canyon between Oxnard and Burbank Boulevard.
Oh my goodness.
And there's a walking path that goes there. So if you grab your girlfriends or your family.
Exactly. Grab the girlfriend. My 3 boys probably won't want to go at the moment. You know, they're teenagers. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They'll go with their friends. So, but you're
Well,
right. That is a really fun thing to do.
Yeah,
This is great.
my-
I love how you compiled all these cool things.
My kids, when they were little, I have a son and daughter, and when they were little, that's what I did. You know, I was fortunate. I stayed home, and I'd pack a picnic, grab them, and let's go explore.
I always did stuff like that, and because of that, they've got like wanderlust. I mean, now we still travel as a family everywhere. You just name it, we'll pack a bag and go. Same thing, and that's such a great thing to do with a kid, whether it's in your backyard or far, far away. It's really wonderful. So tell me a little bit about your hiking. Do you have a hiking club? Do you go hiking a lot? Do you do that kind of stuff with your girlfriends?
Well, we went on a family hike up at the Nike Missile Site a couple of days ago, so that was really nice. The weather was beautiful. Kind of walked off the Turkey, so it was a nice day to get out and explore. There's other hiking area when we first did Mount Whitney as a family in the 70s. We would hike up in the high Sierras. And then also train in the local mountains as well. So just to get used to the altitude.
Did you ever have a goal to go, elsewhere, for example, to train here and really take that training someplace? I just had a friend, in fact, I was at dinner with her last night, and she just climbed Machu Picchu.
Oh, wonderful.
And she took the trail that very often people won't. She said took her 6 days. Now I've been to Machu Picchu. I did not climb all the way up. We did a little bit of climbing and then a little bit of driving up. But what a wonderful thing to do. And the local trail she took, she said there were mostly just locals going by with their horses and donkeys. What a neat experience. Have you ever wanted to do anything like that? Take the family?
My father and I were on the Denali expedition.
Oh.
Many years ago. And then the expedition was canceled, and it was the year that they had all these accidents on Mount McKinley. So,
right.
Yeah, but my son, my brother, sister, and I trained my son. When we did it as a family in 1978, my brother was the youngest kid to climb it. He was 9 years old.
Oh,
so
wow.
when my son was 8 years old, he wanted to do it.
He did the same thing.
So it was really
Did he
neat.
do it at 8?
He did it at 8.
He beat the uncle then.
And my brother was up there. So it was really cool to have a picture of, my brother, sister, my son, and myself up at the mountain. And then then we also trained as a family. So my husband, son, and daughter, and I did it a few years ago. So.
I find that very inspiring. I once again, you took something that was a passion of yours and you wrote about it and shared that with other people. I love that when people, just like I was saying to our blogger, to Deborah, which is such an interesting name. She said she was given that name in college, right? That her name is Deborah, like mine, Deborah. So I was saying that to her, as you know, that, find something you love, because if you love it, you end up with something like this, a beautiful book or just something to teach and inspire somebody with, to be the good girlfriend, to be somebody who's inspiring and can help somebody, climb a mountain or do whatever it is. I love that.
A lot of support from my family who always, back me with things, but a lot of support from my girlfriends. Whenever I do talks or presentations, they're always the first to say, "Oh yeah, you can do that. That's great. I'll be there to support you." So it's important.
Where do you do talks? Where can we hear you?
Oh goodness, I do talks throughout the San Fernando Valley for historical societies, and I just started doing tours. I was contacted by the Crescenta Valley Historical Society and did a private tour for them in about 2 weeks ago. So I think I'm going to add that in 2016 for groups who want to do private tours in the San Fernando Valley. I'd be glad to be the docent.
What about hiking? Because I know a lot of this is about hiking. What about that?
Well, no, it's not primarily about hiking.
Yeah,
it's
but that's
about,
what I focused on.
Yeah, I know, because you're a hiker. But I can certainly be out there with the hikes,
But I mean, do you have any kind of like groups? Have you ever thought of starting something like that? Like a group for people? Or that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, not so much for hiking, because the book is more for historic landmarks. So I give talks to the different historical groups in the San Fernando Valley. And I've got, a Facebook page and a Twitter account, so I post. People love their phones, so I created an app that came out last year.
You did? Oh, that's wonderful. I need to talk to you about that. I'm actually developing one.
Okay.
And for all the people, in fact, I'll talk about it. It's about for people who have no idea what to do sometimes. Maybe they have an hour or 2 hours. and they can plug in where they are locally and volunteer somewhere. Now that's complicated because you then have to get cleared and do all that. So we're working on that part right now. But that's what I'm doing. I'm developing an app. So I never really met anyone else who developed one. So that's neat.
And it's really interesting. You think of historical groups and historical cultural landmarks, and you think of maybe an older generation. But I was giving a talk at Calabasas Historical Society, and a grandmother bought my book, but her grandson bought my app because there you go. Yeah, you can reach both generations, several generations.
How did you do that? How did you develop your app? I mean, did you go out and have somebody, design it for you?
Yeah.
It's kind of like designing a website, isn't it?
Yeah. So I have a wonderful lady, Ida, who has a company called Run Amok Tech. And I can give you that information after the show.
I should have her on. That's really neat. It's, again, very inspiring to me. Because go ahead. Tell me.
She was wonderful to work with. So I showed her my book, and then we had a couple of run-throughs, and anyways, it was released last year.
Oh, I love that. And how often do you update it? I mean,
It was just updated with the 5th edition that came out in March. It was updated in the summertime.
Okay.
So it's current.
A couple more facts before we leave.
Okay. Let's see. One place I'd like to, because you also talk about pop culture, a place I want to highlight is Valley Relics Museum right there. Great.
Looks cool. What's in it?
This is a private collection by Tommy Galinas. He would be wonderful to have on your show.
Yeah.
San Fernando was known for just so much pop culture. There's
so catchy,
Nudi's car, which is in the forefront. You've got Henry's taco signs. I don't know if you remember a few months ago, people were trying to save Henry Tacos in Studio City. He's got wonderful menus of Otto's Pink Pig, the Copper Penny. He also has a bunch of neon signs. He's got the old bells from the May Company.
Let's get back to this Nudi's car. What's a Nudi's car?
Nudie was...
Notice how that piqued my attention? It's like I heard Nudi's car, and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened?
No, Nudi's had dressed all the Western movie stars, Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, Elvis. So he was very flamboyant. He had these beautiful sequined rhinestone cowboy outfits, and Nudie was known for his kind of a gruff guy, but this wonderful designer. He had this car which has the horns on the front.
Oh, cool.
So it
wasn't like
neat.
About nudists or nudies.
No.
This is a human being named Nudie. Okay,
Yeah.
see where my mind goes? It's like unbelievable.
He had a store on Lancashire Boulevard. Yeah.
That's really
Dressed
neat.
a lot of stars.
That is really, really cool. So I love that. So that's a fun thing to do too.
Yeah, and all the places,
God, all these things you found.
90% of the places in my book are free, which is wonderful. So you don't, during the holidays, if you have friends that are coming out, girlfriends that are out, just even your family,
and let me tell you,
head out. And
something like this is so different as opposed to the usual stuff, like the theme park. Nothing wrong with theme parks, although I don't go that often. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This is so different. Such a great thing to do.
And it gives you a flavor for the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really fun. A friend of mine was telling me about they have the scavenger hunt. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, you just sign up. You have no idea who you're going with. You show up, and there's a scavenger hunt all throughout a certain area in town. That would be a fun thing to do in the valley too.
Yeah.
For all I know, they do it over there. So I thought that'd be another fun thing to do when my friends come to town. Look for different stuff like this, like that. Right. You don't have to go for the usual stuff out there.
Right, and if girlfriends are looking to get involved, the historical societies always need volunteers.
That's good to know.
They're run by docents, and that's how they keep them going. So, and it's through the docents that their passion helps preserve these historic landmarks and make them open for the public to enjoy.
Oh, you're such a delight. Thank you so much for being on. I really, really enjoyed it. You were just such a love, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to it, and that is another edition of What's Up, everybody. And thanks for being here. It was a great show, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye, Kurt.